And talking about playstyles though, Tony, when you're looking at both and how they match up, Pure being one of the fastest that we have, the most unpredictable, how are you feeling about Native going up against that pace, and will they be able to dictate their own?
Well, like we kind of mentioned before, Stronghold's interference definitely lends towards Pure, who want to muddy up the game. They want to be able to create these unfair matches, the 4v3s, the 3v2s. They really want to muddy up the game. The one thing that Native have going on for them is that with this new Bandit meta and the game slowing down a little bit, I think that could favor them in some scenarios, but that might more so show its head in a Slayer recharge, where they could really set up and dominate a map. Even a game type like Oddball, where it's really about holding setups and also breaking them, but more you get your points from holding when those seconds start to turn to minutes. So I feel like in game 2 or game 3, that's where I like Native a little bit more than game 1, where I'm like, that's going to be a tough one for them.
It certainly is indeed. Well, two teams looking for their first dub of the day on the main stage. We're heading on over to our two handsome, amazing, expert casters,
sure
Golden Boy and Walshy.
You sure about that, girl?
You know why you're here.
I don't know why I'm here, but I haven't casted in a year, so you know, I mean, hopefully I don't suck. Anyway, looking forward though. This is a game that when we got it on the rotation, we saw it. I was really stoked about, Dave, because you know, Pure and Native, right? Native is I would say, a quite prolific team in Halo Infinite at this point in time.
Absolutely.
Prolific organization here. So to see them kind of go through this down part of their organization's history has been quite fascinating, because they have 4 players that can very well build them out of that slump that this team has been in. But the problem is that Pure are white hot right now, and it is going to be very difficult to try and stop this team here, especially on land with the experience that they got in Atlanta.
Yeah, and they are starting off with a tough map. And like I said, when I looked at these teams' rankings their records as they've gone through these game types, the overall map record for these two teams is 7-8 for Pure out of these 5 maps. And Native, unfortunately, is 1-13 out of these maps so far in the 2024 season. So it's going to be rough here, but like I said, I actually don't hate this first map here for Native. Despite being 0-3 on the circuit, it's just a snowball 1. You can get the kills, you can get the lead, and you can run with this game.
All right, well, we'll see what happens here as OS has been picked up. No! You hate to see it, kids. Oh, man, that is unfortunate. But, hey, at least the Overshield's not playing anymore.
Take a note from his counterpart over there and tap a different button there as he's going across. But the only call you can really do in that situation, GB, is you just say, OS is burned. That's all you just say, OS is burned, and you move on. You don't give any other details till after the match.
Yeah, because they will watch the feed and be like, what happened? And be like, yo, dog, I don't know, man.
OS got burned. I took care of it.
Honestly,
don't worry about it.
I'm a blame lag, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, moving forward, though. Let's see, as we just saw for a brief moment here, or I would rather say it was going to be a brief moment, this trip cap here from Pure to try and get themselves back into this one. Big win there from Barcode as he comes in hot, managing to pick up 2 big frags there to keep his team very much in this one. Now they're going to set their sights over toward A. You got Cherished, who's going to wisely enough back away out of this engagement here. 2 players going to be tucked away inside of bunker. They got an opportunity, but you got to watch out for that one guy who's going to be lingering about. Barcode knew that LastShot was going to be around there. Was trying to sniff him out, couldn't find him.
And that's rough there, because I felt like Barcode, like you said, you got that double kill. You got shots on the remaining 2 players on the map, and they weren't able to flip that into more kills, more control. Instead, Pure able to break out of that.
We've seen the flip come through yet again. Gilkey. He's got eyes on the target here. He's got a few to mess around with, though. Need to be careful about that B push that's going to be coming in here. Druk, 1 shot. Not going to be long for this world. 2 more players. Overshield's going to be up. Oh, we almost saw a repeat. Would have been a really bad sequel. That being said, though, Gilkey's still going to keep himself alive. Big door push, but that is going to be Taulek picking up that OS, and that could be quite problematic for them. You know, with the way that this game has been going, Dave, they need those little things, especially that overshield, especially what happened after the beginning of this one.
You know, with a single slip earlier there with Druk, you got to blame it on Druk. The fact that I saw it happen to Druk and Gilkey, I wonder if it's a little greasy, a little slippery there over on the OS platform. We should go get a mop.
Gotta talk to the UNSC, you know, see if they, you know, put some oil down there or something like that, you know? I mean, slippery up here. In any case, though, as we look forward, this is now starting to be, and this is what we were talking about on the desk just a second ago, right? When, you know, things get a little muddy, when things get a little crazy, this is when Pure is going to thrive. They're moving around this map beautifully. They're forcing Native on that back foot, giving them no opportunity to get a comfortable cap and a comfortable hold. They have that one hold at the beginning with the B and C hold, and then ever since then, it has been pretty much Pure just owning every aspect of this map thus far.
Yeah, just constant pressure here. This is the trouble with this map is it is so small that players can go capture over at C, and then a few seconds later sprint on over and lay out shots over at bunker, over at engine.
Trip cap.
So it's just constant pressure. So even when you feel like you're spread out across the map and trying to distract the opposing team and pull them in different directions, they generally can get to any spot really quick.
Yeah, they've seen how this is playing out so nicely in Pure's favor, and then you can just have Taulek as well as LastShot just constantly push these fights. Great job there, just keeping that attention on him as much as they possibly could out of that one. LastShot's going to get cleaned up here, but you can't give up these deaths here. You got to win this big fight, and that is going to be a massive dub picked up there for Native to just try and keep themselves alive in this one. Of course, HCS 107, that's going to be APG for those of you at home.
And that's the amount of HCS tournaments he's attended in his career. So you know he's got a lot of experience under his belt. He's going for 108 next year. Or 108 at
107 years of Halo. We're doing it. I wonder if we could be here 107 years later. We got to make it first. All right. BC control yet again coming through for Pure. This is still looking quite good for the red squad, but can't sell Native short quite yet. Gilkey hasn't been able to heat up here, but when he does, he can be one of the most scariest people in the server. Whitehall fight coming through. Taulek, oh man, but Gilkey, look at the way that Taulek was just able to get away from that. Just play his life so well. And I say that he's actually re-peaked to get picked, but still keeps that attention on him for as much as he possibly could. This is going to be good though for Native Gaming, as they can now start to build up a little bit of a, some percentage here to try and get back into this one, Dave.
Yeah, and I see they also have that player over at B or at Nest, and I feel like that's okay if you were forced there and stuck for a moment, but for the most part, you're going to see these players want to control the center of the map, and they'll go to Nest when they actually need to grab Sniper, or when they need to actually push out, to like reset the hill. But you generally don't want to park there. You see this again from Barcode and APG, both over at Nest. They already have Nest under control. They want to put more pressure on A and C.
Yeah, and they end up losing A out of that one, but B and C is going to be theirs for the taking. Big pressure there coming in on Snipe side. Tapping trying to get away from this. Now let's see what he could do. No one's chasing him. He's got eyes on Druk. He's going to need some help out of this one, though, and Cherished is giving Druk all the coverage that he needs. And look at that on inside of the sewers there. LastShot just coming out of nowhere. Really just causing a problem there. You think he's fighting 2 people. Instead, he's fighting 3 in that engagement.
Yeah, these players just play so fast. You'll notice so many times where they get to no shields. Generally, if you're playing matchmaking or playing at home or at a lower level of Halo, you're able to just go hide in the corner, get your shields back. But instead, these players are just repositioning, trying to catch someone off guard, get a shot, get some extra damage. They can't just stay static.
Constantly talking to one another. You'll hear it in those listen-ins if we go into one of those. The Druk with an OS now. That's going to be another one grabbed here for Pure, as they have B and C control, continuing to own this one here, pinning them inside of the bunker, not really letting tapping buttons get into the action here. And as he continues to patrol this is only just going to continue to spell doom and destruction for Native Gaming. If they break out of this, they have to fight this as much as they possibly can. Just get him out of there. And Druk, though, he is keeping a presence felt. That being said, though, they do manage to force the attention over toward A, Dave.
Yeah, Druk played that mostly perfect. I felt he found 2 players over at the bunker, laid down shots on one, didn't force the fight or force the finish on one of them, just waited until his teammates got over there and then just clean up the kills. But during that time, they were able to scoop up a little bit extra time. You see still a 50-point lead here for Pure. But one thing that's surprising to me is we haven't really seen either of these teams get this back and forth full setup, which I feel is so iconic here on the rig or on an interference. They usually get all 4 down. They're able to go get the spawn trap over at Carbine, then push over, get the spawn trap over at Bunker, back to Carbine, and before you know it, the game just spins out of control. But we haven't really seen too many extended trip cap.
Yeah, we saw it briefly at the beginning from Pure, where they had that first trip cap. And that is honestly what has supported this sizable lead that they have built up. But outside of that, you're right, Dave. We haven't really seen anything else. It's kind of been more back and forth, but that works in the favor of Pure. They're going to be up right now, crossing that 200-point threshold, and this is a solid start here for a team that really just surprised everyone coming out of HCS Atlanta and could very well set themselves up for success here in SLC. If they continue to play like this, I mean, they are effectively shutting down Native, not really allowing them to get any kind of presence on the map whatsoever, and you kind of feel like Native there you know, a little flat here, right? No one's really taking fights together. They're pretty much just taking individual ones, just trying to see if they could find a fight wherever they can. And you're constantly seeing two members of Pure next to one another, whereas with Native, they've just been isolated time and time again.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like they're all focused on the exact same spot. I mean, when I was talking about that before, when I saw players over at Nest, I'm like, Nest is an okay spot to be temporarily.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
you
yeah,
don't
yeah.
want to chill there, and that's game.
That is it. I mean, that was basically as textbook as it could possibly get there for Pure. I mean, they did what they needed to do at the beginning of the game, and then at that point, they just held on. They did not allow Native to get comfortable at all. Native gets B and C control. They don't worry about it. They stick together. They fight a spot. They win that spot, and then they just continue to snowball that success. Pure pretty much picking up right where they left off. 56 kills coming out of that one to Native's 37. You ain't winning if you ain't slaying.
No, it's absolutely a Slayer's game here, especially at the highest level. We always try to talk about objective efficiency, but I always highlight and add that caveat that says, but in general, whoever's slaying more, generally wins the game.
Typically, you know, I mean, money's going to go over there, you know. But we'll see if this Native squad can bounce back here. It's going to be quite difficult for them to do so, but you know what? Anything is certainly possible here at the HCS. Take a look at some of the replays, and yeah, I mean, again, you know, it was a pretty solid start for both teams here. Outside of the OS dropping, that was a little bit of a heartbreaker. And then, you know, Pure with power item control for a good chunk of this one. That's another one where it's like, you're not really gonna win if you're not controlling those power items. It becomes a lot more challenging to do so in those engagements there, and we saw that play out to perfection for Pure.
Yeah, just still overall dominating score, even though they only had that trip cap a little bit the early part and a little bit at the end. But game number 2, we're going to be looking at Recharge Slayer. This one's going to be a much slower game. You can't really do the exact same style of gameplay as we saw there in Interference, where you're able to get the kills and then just put pressure on the new spawns because there's just too many isolated spawns. You can spawn over towards back elevator or towards back C, and you can't traverse the map as fast.
Yeah, there's just a lot of empty, or rather I should say open areas that you can get picked off if you're not careful. Of course, you know, these players, having played this since the beginning of Infinite's run here at HCS Recharge, know that better than anyone else. And looking at, you know, some of our stats there, no surprise, LastShot just continuing to be a top performer for this team. Coming out of that one, 16 frags for him, also 9 assists too. So this guy was out here putting in a lot of work just to set his teammates up for success. And part of that was this LastShot Taulek tandem combo that was really pushing these fights quite nicely against Native.
Well, at some point when you put down the most damage in a tournament, you are going to get a lot of assists.
Yeah, that's true too.
As soon as you're laying out shots, you're getting a lot of kills,
That's true.
or a lot of assists, or a lot of kills and assists.
Yeah, you're doing something right. You know, it's working out. But we'll see, though, how this all pans out. I mean, we're getting ready for Slayer on Recharge, as we mentioned before. And, I mean, you know, records-wise, right, like, neither team particularly shining. But that was a thing that the Native squad had talked about extensively in that documentary I was referencing before, which was, you know, APG was talking about, like, the Slayers. Barcode was talking about the Slayers. This was a thing that they knew has kind of just been a thorn in their side. And with the way that Interference Strongholds game went, you got to put your money on Pure here, because they have the aggression, they have the you know, delusional confidence to just push constantly. It works out very well for them. They have that teamwork cohesion locked down. And Native, this is a team, it's 4 individuals coming together, you know, middle of the season to try and make this thing happen here. Well, you know, the other guys were on the roster, but bringing in Tapping, it's definitely going to create a bit of a cohesion issue if you have a Pure squad that is playing with so much confidence like this.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going against other rosters that have their strategies figured out, they've been together a little bit longer, they've had more success, it's just tougher to catch up to that, because even if you implement their exact same game plan, you're like, okay, they're doing this strategy.
Yeah.
They're doing this during scrims. You're still months behind, arguably. So
Yeah,
at some
that's
point,
very true.
it's at some point you have to have some great leap in success, whether that's, all right, we've really figured out this thing, or we're getting better per hour compared to our opponents when we're scrimming and practicing. But it's really tough at this highest level.
Yeah, it definitely is. And then on top of that, too, coming into this event, we only had 1 team change, right? Which tells you that you're also playing from behind there as well, because you got so many squads that have built that teamwork, built that cooperation. that you'd like to see there. Look at LastShot taking this fight. Absolutely beautiful. He knew exactly where he needed to be. Gets himself a 2-for-1 out of that one. What a way to start things off for that young gun.
Just breaking through like that. That's so incredible. Just such fast movement.
And gave him the camo to boot. With that play, that one guy took 2 players out, opened up the field, and then you get Druk picking up the camo just like that. That is scary to play against.
Druk gonna move across the map. I like this play, but gets spotted out. I don't think I'm gonna get this finish though. It's tough. You can't really lean over into batteries on a camo player if you don't have exact eyes on them.
Just a little bit of a close shave is all, but this is gonna open things up here at Pipes now. You can see these players, the blue players, dropping back, playing the steps, playing the long haul as well. But Druk's got it. He's got that grapple shot. He's got eyes on him. He's going. He's hungry. He finds it. He gets his dish. He gets his dinner. Now he's got to find himself another one. Unfortunately, the wall's going to stop him. Not his friend in that situation.
Yeah, and despite this, we've been talking about, all right, great flank by Druk with camo, great double kill from LastShot, but game's tied. We're 6-5 here. I got to wonder what's going to happen if and when Native get control of a camo, when they can actually spread out to other spots on the map that they want. Yes, Gilkey did have the shock rifle and was doing some work with that, but it looks like it's also back in the hands of tapping buttons, so goes to show, I guess.
Yeah.
Just playing a little more patient, keeping control of shock rifle. That seems to be doing the trick against Pure, even though they've had better positions and had camos.
Do want to remind everyone, HCS 107 is APG, just an FYI. In case you're wondering, where's APG? Who's this HCS 107 guy? Problem solved. Mystery concluded. But this is, of course, slowing down to a snail's pace here. And they know that. They know that they're going to have to wait for this camo to come up here, which it is available, and that is going to be a grab from Druk yet again. Here comes the push now, tapping buttons, going to deal with some pressure. Over on his side of the elevator side of the map is going to get dominated on that one, but Barcode does manage to push away with this camo. Can he keep his life? Can he stay alive here? And there's no one in the vicinity to try and stop him, so for the time being, he can breathe a sigh of relief. 2 players are going to be located here inside of control, and that's going to be one picked off, looking for another one, but that nade is going to be his death knell.
Where did that nade come from?
It came from blue, and I think it was like that player blue side. I'm pretty sure he like just tossed it up.
I was looking
But I didn't see where it
for
was.
some reason I thought that we saw Barcode kill LastShot, and that said it was killed by a nade, but I could have been incorrect there from that first kill.
Score, though, starting to peel away here for Native. They got themselves a 5-kill lead. Still not early days and very, very doable here for Pure, but nice shots there hit by tapping. He's getting pressure, though, from the long haul. Knew that was going to come. Tried to see if he could help out his teammate in enough time, but it does not work out. That being said, though, does open up the opportunity for Barcode to be able to push into control, so they can sweep through at least one of those kills now. And you can definitely see Pure kind of struggling to find where these openings are going to be, but kind of like what we saw in that last one on Rig or Interference, Davis, you know, those ones, right? Those 1v1s that we were seeing a Native take, like those are just constantly going over to Pure side. If they can find a way to replicate that in this one, it's going to be a little bit more challenging, different map, obviously different mode, but it is still very, very doable for them to come back into this one. They just need one round of slays, and they're right back in this.
Yeah, I just see these players from Native taking very smart battles. Even when they're about to die, I see them laying down shots in the direction where a teammate is. Gilkey trading out that kill against LastShot, so still keeping that 5-kill lead here for Native Gaming. I mean, just looks completely different for them here as this game's going to slow down at a slower pace of play on recharge.
And that's what we've come to expect on this map, especially in these Slayer situations. Tapping's got eyes, but he's actually getting pressure there by Druk. And look at that. I mean, the amount of work he's putting in there. Tapping needs to be careful, though, because he's getting pressured by Druk. Here comes APG. APG with a massive kill. It's actually going to force him out of that position there. Still keeping this one within 5. Looking for the openings, but Gilkey, unfortunately for himself, cannot find that, though, as the shock rifle is going to go over to the hands of Pure.
Tapping, pushing all the way through on pipe side. Must know that players are not over there. If you're moving that quick over during a standoff time, you have to know it's clear. It looks like they're going to try to kill off the shock rifle, but too little too late. That's going to be Taulek and Druk using that LastShot bait to pick off all these kills in pipe. Here comes the collapse. Gilkey somehow able to trade out that kill against LastShot, which is huge. Now APG has shock rifle. They only have a 1-kill lead. It used to be 5.
Yeah,
and trying to desperately slow this down.
And it all came down to that push that we saw over toward the elevators as well. ABG's got to be careful, though. He's in a rock and a hard place, and unfortunately does not come out on top there. That is now going to be lead over to Pure. This was a 5-kill game for Native Gaming at one point in time, and that lead has been chipped away little by little. And one of the players that I was actually keeping eyes on to see if he was going to start to step things up was Taulek, because Taulek started it off 2 frags, wasn't really getting much movement there, but then started to find a good string of kills that brought him, you know, kind of just gave him a little bit of that motivation here. Also, 10 assists certainly does help out of that one as well. Barcode, though, still trying to keep his team very much in this one with a melee onto the person I was just talking about here. 31-31 total score.
Just like that, able to isolate and pick off another kill. Camel coming up in 15. I want to see how much more ground Native Gamer are going to take up to grab this Camel, because with it being up in still, like I said, when it was 15 seconds ago, you don't want to let Pure just perfectly set up and get to spots where they can nade it wherever they like. It looks like Shroud's going to come down. Barcode's going to pop that camo, and that's going to be a free, uncontested camo.
So they managed to squeak away with that one, but now the objective here for Pure is going to be to get rid of that camo player as soon as possible. And mission accomplished. They do so, and they do so by gaining a 1-kill lead here. Of course, you got these two, you got these, I should rather say these 4 players kind of tucked away inside of control. Here comes a big push now, but Cherished not aware that there was going to be at least one more player there. Ended up walking into a 1v2. Kind of shocking, to be honest, considering that they had a good chunk of the map, so you would have assumed that there would have been another player there. But oh, never mind. Turn around out of that one, Gilkey. You do not want to deal with that for the time being. But that sneaky push from Druk is going to get himself a double kill. Well played.
And not just that, whole team goes down in a position like there. So those ones are tough, because as you get shot down, your first instinct is like, yes, we have to run away, yes, we have to hide. But you really can't have too many failures when you're doing those 2-person pushes like that.
Yeah.
You have to be able to get more value out of that. And sometimes when you just get popped by a nade, it's such a swing, because all of a sudden 2 players on one crucial flank both go down.
Yeah.
Almost no damage dealt from either of them. And that's just a 4-on-2 collapse.
And now look at the situation that Native find themselves in. They were up by 5 at one point in time, and now they're kind of playing off the back foot here. You know, backs against the wall, if you will. LastShot's got that shock rifle. He's got vision on them. He knows exactly where this push is going to be coming from. So expect him to kind of creep around the corner, or expect to push from that long haul area, which is why he's playing so passive out of this one. Of course, he has got that shock rifle too, so he needs to be careful. But there goes that player, and the awareness out of this guy is just so impressive there. Just make sure that he's constantly pushing this. He's got help now. He's going to try and make the push happen, and that is going to be a trade out, but that works out in the favor of Pure to remove that player. 45-41. You need 1 round of slays if you're Native to get back into this one. It ain't going to happen if you're getting picked off like that in the middle of the open field now. 4 frags remaining, and Pure walks away with this one with a 2-0 lead in the series. Barco, though, big win for him, but it's not going to be enough as LastShot's there for the coverage. You got 3 kills remaining here, and that camo's going to be up. That's really your last-ditch effort to just try and make this game happen in your favor. Tapping buttons with some nasty shots there, forcing Taulek back, though, and they got the eyes on him. Barco trying to get the better of Druk in that situation, ends up running into 2. Now Tapping got himself the camo, Dave. Can they come back out of this one?
As the camo still has a couple grenades. Now he just wants to find out some info for his teammates. Where are they at? They have to know something's going on here. They hear it in pipes. There's going to be first kill.
That's 1. Massive kill.
They had to know there's a second one. He heard
they
the slide.
They got to get this kill, too.
Have to get unanswered as well. Does not get an unanswered. Barcode falls there.
Becomes a lot more difficult now at this point. 49-47. Taulek looks like he's in a pretty decent position here to receive any kind of pressure that's going to be coming out of control. Meanwhile, on the other side of that, you got Tapping, who's just looking for an opening. And look, Pure ain't going to give it to you. So you need to try and find that opening where it's present.
And one other concern, too, is Tapping is focused fully across map here, but he's the closest player over towards the edge when it comes towards long haul.
Yeah.
That could be a dangerous play to make, especially in a situation like this. You don't want to be just fully cross-mapping if you could be right next to an opponent. Because right there, the exact opposite can happen. Tapping buttons is hoping to lay down teammate, damage for his teammates to finish off from control, but likely the reverse will happen. Tapping buttons might take some damage. Someone's going to flank over from glass or long hole and go get the finish on Tapping. And there it is. Druk gets the grenade cross-map on Tapping buttons. That's going to be a 2-0 lead there. For Pure.
You can make the case that maybe Tapping should have peeled away a little bit sooner from that one, especially, with that. But that position's so strong. You don't want to give that up. If anything, someone should have gotten him a lot faster.
Yeah, I think there's 2 solutions to how you potentially play that. One is Tapping does have another teammate over there, and so Tapping can be a little bit over towards glass or a little bit closer towards long haul to make sure someone can't sneak on up. And then that second person can be laying down shots over towards control for those players at elevator.
Exactly.
Or 2 is you just hunker up down there. You know it's a 49 game. There's a difference between laying out shots and getting more value across the map in the middle of the game where your team can maybe get a better push and take out 2 players in control. But when it's just 1 kill, no room for error, you got to play a little more selfish and worry about your own life.
And it goes back to that big fight that we saw happen with Druk, that he was able to get that kill back yellow stairs. Had he not gotten that kill, we're looking at a 48-48 game, as a matter of 48-47.
I was right in that play, by the way.
The first kill he got, be right here.
I always want to be right. The first kill he got was on LastShot, and then LastShot somehow got the plasma grenade kill on Barcode a little bit later in control. That's why I was just so confused.
Yeah, he just threw the nade up and just waited for it to come down. Something like that would have been pretty.
Or team nade, or I don't know what the heck happened.
Could have been a team nade, actually.
It was a little something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, ultimately that was going to be just one of the many situations that would end up plaguing them in this one. A 5-kill advantage whittled down by Pure. Kill after kill after kill, leaving it into a 50-47 finish. I was talking about Taulek before and what he was bringing to the table in this one. Wanted to see him step up. He definitely did so. 15 assists he was able to lock up in that game and came back with 9 kills. And the way that LastShot is just taking initiative, the way that he is pushing these fights, he shows no fear. It is reflected in the scoreboard.
The man has no fear.
He's got no fear. It is honestly impressive. And
he's got like some weird fear though. Like that's the weird part about it is like he fears nothing, but it's like walnuts or something like that.
Like I have a irrational fear of whales, for example. Yeah, I do. I'm just afraid of whales. So maybe LastShot's afraid of something irrational.
More ammunition.
Like
I now know what to do. Just
okay, Dave,
go outside your hotel room, start playing whale noises.
I just want everyone to know right now, if you're watching, I told that to Dave in confidence as a friend, and now he's going to try and use that against me.
And he put a target.
He's a terrible human being. Anyway, let's look forward to what we got here. And there's Taulek yet again. As we were talking about him before, a big role player in this one. He had massive kills in that interference game, but then on top of that, in this recharge game, really playing that supportive role to great potential here, and it definitely does support. But on the other side, man, you definitely got to be feeling here for Native Gaming. That could have very well been what they needed to start getting that motivation here.
Yeah, we saw good moments, but I think this is just looking a little disastrous here for Native Gaming in this series. Yeah. It's more of a testament to how good Pure are, but even when you see those moments of greatness there from Native Gaming, it just feels like Pure are able to just pull it out. They get a kill or two.
Yeah.
One thing you brought up before around his LastShot that I wanted to make a point on was you're saying he has no fear. He's able to break through and get these kills. It's very reminiscent of like year 1 Renegade to me.
Oh, yeah.
I remember seeing him playing before on like a Cloud9 or SSG, and like there'd be times where it's a stalemate on recharge, and he just like grapples in, gets a kill, an entry kill or 2 kills, and it's like, wait, how do you do that from a stalemate situation? And I felt that same thing from LastShot. Not that it was a full stalemate situation there, but whole point is he's not afraid to slide on in over towards Hydro and just start the action.
He's quickly becoming the guy for Pure that when you need to put the game in someone's hands, you put it in his hands. And but also too, I mean, let's not forget. I mean, we've been praising a lot of what LastShot has done, but in that map too, I mean, Druk was also popping off, right? 15 frags for him out of that one. So there was certainly, and that was mostly coming off of a lot of that support that we were seeing from Taulek lay down. A lot of those fights over toward Camo that were definitely going their way. The way that they were being a bit more proactive in those situations. It's definitely indicative of a team that has just been putting in a ton of work from ATL to SLC, but also just that raw talent that they all possess now. They're really hitting their stride.
Just making the right plays, and I think that's what it is at the highest level. It's always been this at the highest level of Halo is the best teams and best players. One, they're capitalizing on opposing mistakes.
Yeah.
Someone pushes out, makes a mistake, they're getting shot, they're getting gunned down, and then they just roll that 4v3 advantage. The other part too is when they see an opening or when they have an advantage, they know how to capitalize on that window. And it's going to be different players at different times. It's never just going to be this one person who's always creating that opening or always creating the play. But when you know you have 4 people on your team that know how to capitalize on those windows of opportunity, at that point, it's a very comfortable and confident game of Halo you can play.
Yeah.
You only go for the plays that you know you can make, and then you have trust that your teammates are going to make plays if you aren't the playmaker at that time.
Yeah, and these guys have a lot of playmakers at their disposal on Pure. And, not to say the Native don't. They certainly do. I mean, again, you're talking about APG, Gilkey, prolific players throughout the life of Halo. And then you got, Barcode, a superstar, coming from down under. And then, you got Tapping Buttons, another superstar coming from, the LATAM region. I mean, these are incredible players that are on the native side. But it goes to what we were talking about on the desk with Lottie and Tony beforehand, which is, this is a team that, they're trying to find that chemistry. And you're doing it in the middle of the season while Worlds is on the horizon. And then you have all these other teams that are already, starting to find that secret sauce, if you will, coming out of Atlanta, right? You got, the likes of Shopify, of Pure, right, who are starting to find that next level that they need to find if they want to contend with the big three here in the HCS. And Native, these are guys who, some of them played with the big three teams in the HCS. So they got to find that magic themselves here. Is it going to come in Oddball Live Fire? I'm not too sure about that. It's going to be a tall task without a doubt. That being said, though, anything is possible. And if anything, this is a great opportunity here for Native. You get this win in map 3, then maybe you start building up a little reverse sweep. We saw them do this before, so they could very well do it again. And we're kicking things off with Cherished, the guy who's a bit more of the quiet side on this team, but don't get it twisted. This guy could pop off when he needs to.
Just like that, he spots where 2 players are at. He doesn't overcommit. His teammates roll across the map, get a couple kills, and now ball already in the hands of Cherish and Pure. They're down 6 points.
That was fast. Don't let Druk get away with this one. It'd be quite problematic here for Native Gaming. They haven't been able to get that ball outside of the underground tunnel yet, so you're going to be really looking for Druk to be the playmaker in this situation, and he hits the shot there on the OS player. Needed to find that one. He's getting some pressure now coming from the nest side. He knows it's coming. That's why he's going to send some nades over there. Finds another. It's going to come courtesy of some help, but he does manage to one-shot that player, and I think OS is still going to be up for grabs here.
Enemy has the ball.
Unless it got burned, but I don't think it did. No. Oh, sorry. Camo, my bad. Still dealing with old brain here. It's been a minute.
That was already snagged, and they have just the setup across the map. And look at this, just trying to clear out the garage side. They also know push is coming from cuts. This could be a play ball, but we will see. That is going to be a play ball. Okay.
This is a great setup, though. To get them 32 points out of that one at the break of this is pretty huge. Great movement there by Druk to just get out of dodge. He saw shots were coming over toward the training side, so he knew he had to get out of there. Trying to see if he can help out as much as possibly can. Tower side's going to be taken over by Native. Now there could be an opportunity for them. Maybe add something here to the scoreboard here. They got to be able to get possession of that ball, but there's some massive nades starting to come through here from LastShot. It's going to send Tapping Buttons packing.
At this point, it's just going to be a quick slays here for Pure. They know they have 1 down, but I like this play from Druk. It's not just sneak around and try to get the pick off on the ball carrier. Get a power position. He saw tower was free. Go take that, and then they can make a push together. And just because of that great position from Druk, 2 kills down. Ball is no longer scrapping up any time, and Pure in great position to snag 1 more kill and pick up some time.
Druk needing to stay up there, and man, this guy's making some decisions. You love to see it. Good plays here. As Druk keeps his, is really just valuing his life. Pressure starting to come through. Another big melee there for Druk. This has been a beautiful run for him. Still, though, hasn't really led to them being able to get possession of the ball yet, but neither has Native. So for the time being, that's okay for Pure.
And just discoordinated effort there, too, from Native. You saw Gilkey trying to run the ball away from players over at Camo side. And then end up delivering the ball to Pure over here on green. Not quite running all the way over on that side, but just too much pressure from too many sides. And what you'll see the stronger teams and strongest teams do here on something like live fire ball is they'll clear out a path for that ball. They'll know where they can come confidently and safely push that ball over and just run that path. And right there, I almost even see some uncertainty from Barcode. That's either checking spawns or uncertainty on which way he needs to be pushing that ball.
Yeah, I think that they were just concerned that there could have been maybe 1 more player lingering over here, but turns out it's all right for them. They're now going to get possession of this ball. Top tower here. Pressure coming from the nest side, though. Need to be careful. Might need to play this one, and they do so. Because they're losing numbers. They lost 2 players, so that was a play to make there, Dave.
And also, I know that you're supposed to, like, that Barcode gets, what was the stat? We saw 63% of the ball time there for Native Gaming. But Barcode right now has 8 kills. He has most kills on his team by far. If somebody is popping off,
he's got the hot hand.
Take that ball or that flag out of their hands. As soon as you're right next to each other. It's not like you tell Barcode to never pick up the ball, but the moment that you have a quick pause in action, drop that ball and let your slayer slay.
And even in that situation, when they got ball control, it was more like, oh, hey, we got ball control, but our teammates are struggling to be able to win these fights, you know, down low, right? So they only are able to accrue 23 points out of that one. Meanwhile, you got Pure, who they've just constantly, time and time again, they find like 10 seconds here, 10 seconds there. That's giving them the 56 points that they have presently. Barcode, though, needing to move this ball away, and they're going to bring this one over to a garage.
There's that score that we talked about, tapping buttons, leading the way towards scoreboard and garage. There's not going to be any surprise to catch them there. They already know their back is clear, as we saw Barcode checked over on tunnels. We knew C Plat was clear, so just a very safe rotation from Native, and they're able to get that all the way towards garage and scrap up a few more time.
Yeah, but while he was looking around to see if anyone else was going to be pushing him, the rest of the team was worrying about the objective. And that manages to get them control inside of the garage. Tapping buttons now, what was looking like a pretty solid position there, ended up being just the last man standing and couldn't really stand toe-to-toe there against the Pure Might. Oh, hey, Pure Might. Of Pure. I didn't intend to do that, but, you know, hey, we may all make mistakes. I'm allowed one. Cherished now on the move. Clean shots from him there. And this continues to just be Pure dominating this, Dave.
The other thing I love there from Cherished, right after getting that kill from back green, is pushing away from green. You don't need that second person near the ball carrier. You can just spread out, get over towards Nest, get over towards Big Door, get bags, get any other location, because that ball player, if they do it correctly, they can just play ball as soon as they receive too much pressure nearby.
Oh, here comes a little bit of pressure there, but that camo is good for them. Problem is, they have not been able to get control of the ball. While all that was happening, APG's looking around, trying to see if he can find these players. They're dealing with fights on the other side of the map, and the ball's over here toward camo side. Finally, though, they're able to get possession of this one. Oh, be careful there. Try and get out of dodge with this one. Smart jump over the key door to just get out of this one. No one's there to put some pressure on him, so he's able to get out scot-free.
Ball getting all the way back over towards green, but there is a member of Pure over there, so I feel like you either have to give up that rotation, which APG does, or you have to just immediately toss it off the map and try to win your fight.
Big fight here for APG. Can he win this one? He's got help. He does get cleaned up by a nade or a stray bullet or something, but is it going to be enough, though, to get them back into this one? A massive, massive 2 kills there for Barcode is going to keep them going in this. And that could have been maybe a turning point for them in this one. They really, really needed those wins there from Barcode, and he comes through big time.
And also, I've said before, not even just when Barcode didn't have weapons, I was like, take the ball out of his hand. The guy is slain. But he has Sniper. He has Repulsor. Get the ball out of his hands. Let him do some work.
Yeah, and they're getting pressured here. And that is just going to end up... that Sniper was not in a position to be able to be effective in that one, and that is exactly where you want that power weapon for. I think he only had like 2 or 3 shots in it, but that's still enough.
And I understand like sometimes the desperation at the end as you're close here, where it's like, all right, we're only 10 seconds behind, but that's the times where, you know, I almost think of that that quote from Warren Buffett where it's like, when other people are greedy, be fearful, and when other people are fearful, be greedy. It's like, it almost applies in Halo, where people are panicking. You need to be calm. You need to be like, all right, we don't need to scrap up every last second of time here.
Yeah,
but there it is, going to be Cherished and Pure, going to get the 100 points on the board there.
Yeah, that was a bit disappointing there for Native in that situation because, yeah, you know, Taulek did the same thing where he was holding on to the sniper, but he had ball, but they only had like, what, 10 seconds to gain there. So at that point, you're like, yeah, sure, go ahead. Just scrap up as much of the time as you can. You want to see Native be a bit more diligent with how they're distributing those power items, power weapons in general. There's a little quantum translocator for Druk, and to see if he can break some ankles here.
Also, I love the fact from Cherished, just putting up so many points on the board. Doesn't care that his KD is so low in a place like this. He's doing whatever he needs for his team to win the game. I've always been a big proponent of that, is if you individually, your stats say you aren't having a great game or maybe you don't have a bunch of kills and your team is still winning that Team Slayer, you need to be playing the exact same way you're playing, whether that's creating that aggression or pushing through and getting those plays.
Gilkey, wait a minute. Okay, maybe I got a little excited there for a minute, but he hit 2 gorgeous shots trying to stay alive out of this one. He had camo in the corner. He had no help, but they do get that ball. So they're getting a little bit of time out of that one. Beautiful shots there from Gilk, but they need to turn and convert this into some more points on the board. Get an opportunity to play that ball. Perhaps as the pressure starting to come through here. And 1 player left for Native Gaming just trying to circle about this. Does he win the fight? Barcode could not stand tall against Taulek out of that one there. Cherished going to be in a bit of a clinic, though. And nice nade placement's going to put the pressure onto Tapping. Tapping needs to back out of this fight. He cannot do so. That was gorgeously done. And Cherished just putting pressure and just allowing his team to just handle business on the other side of the map.
Yeah, every single time he's getting shots on somebody, he's getting cleaned up. He has the most assists in the lobby by far.
The help that Pure are giving themselves, Dave, they are constantly looking out for one another. You could see that the fundamental difference here between how Pure is playing this versus how Native is playing. And not saying Native aren't trying to play for one another. If anything, it is a testament to Pure being so good that they're isolating these guys in these fights time and time again.
Yeah, Pure's on that trajectory to establish themselves as, you know, in that group of those top 4, top 5 teams. Undoubtedly, they are 3rd seed going to this event, so it's weird to like kind of discredit them a little further and say like, you know, top 4, top 5. But
yeah.
Until we see them kind of replicate that success we saw from the last event and do it 2 events in a row, I kind of consider it a great tournament that they had when we saw Atlanta. So based on what I'm seeing so far, I'm seeing there's many times where these players in Native Gaming are making incredible individual plays. They're shooting out of their minds, but Pure are making the better objective plays. They're moving around as a team. They're just doing everything right. And I was, as I talked about before this match started, it's when you're a great team, you don't need to be playing and shooting your best to still win.
Yeah, you got to be basically, you know, at this point, at this level, on the same page here. And that didn't add a decent amount of points here for Native at the beginning of this one, but there's going to be 2 frags coming through here as well. Once again, I want to remind everyone, HCS 107 is APG. Just having an account issue, so it just went to a default account. But when we switch over to a screen, you will see this says APG on there, so don't worry, don't fret. Here comes ball control there for Native, and this is exactly what we wanted to see before, Dave.
Gilkey has the ball this time, and we have Barcode with Snipe. Let's see if we can do anything with this. Receiving instant pressure from Druk and decides to waste 1 clip of this and enter the action one more time, but getting a little too quick and a little too familiar there. I almost wonder as he's hearing his teammates call if he's panicking, trying to get there a little too fast, and there's the body shot. Gets the headshot onto Cherished and still staying alive with this Snipe.
I mean, just look at all of that attention that he managed to pull over toward himself, Dave. He's such a problem when he gets activated like that, but and again, you mentioned that before. All 4 of these individuals, they can slay. They're shooting out of their minds right now, but they need to find that you know, a little bit of that chem that we've been constantly harping them for. Right now, it is at the very least been okay here for Native Gaming to try and keep themselves competitive in this one. Taulek with ball control in hand. Got pressure starting to come through. Beautifully done, though, to try and just remove him from the equation here. He had LastShot there for the help, but he couldn't get there in time.
It's a nice finish, and also look at that. QT's over for basically the perfect ball rotation, saying, hey, push this towards green. I'm going to go lay some shots over the scoreboard, and I'll be right back there.
And now their only plan here is to try and win these fights inside of Garage, and then maybe you turtle your way out, maybe toward the cave or something like that, if you can try and get your way over toward green. But the problem is LastShot ain't going to give you those opportunities to do so here with that commando. He is absolutely ripping faces. 57-57 in the score line presently here. It's going to be that 1 round advantage here for Pure, because now they got that ball yet again. They're going to start making some movement happen over toward the tower side of the map. Druk's got himself camo. And that is why you're starting to see Native play a little bit more cautiously, because they know that there was going to be one of those camo players lingering about, which they do isolate, they do remove from the equation. And they're winning these fights. That's 4 down right now.
And no play ball.
And no play ball. So you're good. You should be able to not only take the lead, but build upon this as well, Dave.
And this is a massive position for APG. The only downside here could be is if they overload that camo side, APG's not able to do damage, but it looks like they're going to try to pick off APG first. That's going to be Druk coming over to Pillar, so they found where APG was at and didn't have that extra help, and there falls tapping buttons. Barcode shortly after that. That's going to be a setup going down, ball being played, but 13 seconds gained there for Native Gaming.
Given how this round has gone, Walsh, I think that was the best possible situation there for Native to be able to scoop up as much time as they possibly could. Obviously, you'd want them to be able to win out that fight yet again, but it does not work out in their favor. That being said, though, it is going to be Pure with ball control yet again, and they're right back in the driver's seat here, Walsh. So this is basically what Native needs to prevent, is from Pure just having the agency to find themselves in these fights over and over and over and over.
Well, looks like they're able to get this stop here. Gilkey knowing there's some pressure up top. But here comes the crucial fight. You see tapping buttons take out LastShot. Druk has sniper bomb center, gets the body shot on the tapping buttons, but buttons trades out one of the kills. Sniper still in the hands of Pierre, and of course, Cherished gonna hit that body shot as well. These players don't miss.
Yeah, a lot of body shots, but hey, I'm okay with that. You get someone one shot and then you're able to push them. Should be able to get that kill there. Oh, but Cherished got a little too overzealous, and that is now gonna lead to a 90-point threshold crossed here for Pure. They are just a few seconds away from being able to win this one. Can Native Gaming Forces, is anyone in a position to be able to stop them? Doesn't seem like anyone is around, and that is going to be a clean 3-0 for Pure as they pick up the dub.
Taulek, once again, getting most time, grabbing those last crucial seconds for his team.
And in that one, too, you
most
can
time
also
at the end, I forget. I know Cherished had a ton of time throughout the game, so we'll double-check the scoreboard here in a moment.
He really did, but something else to make note of here, Dave, is that Cherished, we were talking about how his, KD, not the best, but he was doing his job. He did his job, and then some. 19 assists he was able to pick up. Really allowed players like Druk, like LastShot, and heck, like Taulek to be able to get activated. That is literally the playmaker of that team that you want to see there for sure. Very well done. Pure continue to pick up where they left off coming out of HCS ATL. And we could be looking at the origin story of a potential, juggernaut in HCS.
We kind of said the same thing about Shopify. We saw an event and we're like, all right, well, we have to see it. Let's see it happen again.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll beat a big 3 again. How many times we got to do this for you to be a believer? It's like, all right, we understand now. And I think Pure is in that same boat. They showed that they had one great LAN tournament, and I see nothing from what I saw throughout that series that's not showing that they're not going to have another great tournament this event. They're looking strong. I feel like they can close out this pool, take first place in their pool, and go strong into bracket play.
Yeah, everything indicates that this Pure team is the real deal. And if they continue to play like this, oh boy, watch out, everyone else is going to be a problem.